All right, welcome back. Doing a little bit of a live stream, and while I'm doing that, doing some hobby stuff, which is today I am painting some uh, Czech hedgehogs, or I guess we would just in America maybe we would just call them anti-tank obstacles or whatever, but I'm painting them metallic silver, and then I'm probably going to do a black wash just to get them gritty looking, and then I'm going to do some dark rust wash on them, right, to get them all rusty and streaky. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got like 22 of them to do. Um, these are actually I 3D printed them and put them together. These are actually a great terrain piece because they could be used for literally any war game. You know, uh, modern, future doesn't matter. These guys could be, you know, Daniel Barry. Yo, what's up, homie? Um, which let me put this up. If Jose drops in, I've got a question for him. I'm going to question him too and see if he wins or if he gets the big L. So we'll see. We'll see. He might get that L. So, I mean, he generally does pretty good at my little tests. And I'll tell you what, he's a great artist. I wonder if he's ever talked to the basic expert, because basic expert is like a great artist. Jose is a great artist. um, I wonder if he should probably check out the basic experts channel, just to you know just to whatever, but anyway, if there's anything in particular you want to talk about, shout it out. There's pretty much nothing within reason, guys, off the table. Like yesterday, me and a young gentleman, a really good guy, I think. I mean, I don't know him great, but he seems like a good guy. Good kid with a good head on his shoulders. And we had a whole discussion about like the migration of humanity, the Aryan invasion of the Indus Valley, all this kind of stuff. And the guy I'm talking about is from India. So, of course, they've got, very recently in India, it's become like government policy to deny the Aryan invasion, even though archaeologists have proven it's a fact. Like prior to the Aryan invasion, which would have came from somewhere on the steppes of Central uh, Europe, like Turkmenistan or something like that, maybe even Ukraine. There were no chariots and horses and shit like that in India. Um, and then apparently these people were the ones that created the Sanskrit language. And I think that's what makes a lot of people mad, of a lot of like the nationalist Indian people. They're like, oh, we can't have non-Indian people making, our language and religion and everything. But that's looking at it all wrong, because the tribal people of the Aryan invasion, and Aryan don't even mean white. It's like another word for Iran or Persian. And the freaking no Germans thought it had something to do with the people in Tibet. But anyway, so the whole idea of Aryan invasion, people were like, "Oh shit, he said Aryan." Calm down. It's not what you think, right? Um, but the idea that, so you're basically saying he didn't say this. This is what I seen a militant Hindu saying. He's like, so it's all just a big lie to gaslight us into believing our religion was created by white people, right? And it's like, well, hold on here. The people from the Aryan invasion are Indians now. That was, I don't even know, 10,000 years ago? However long it was, 6,000, 15,000, 1,500. I'm not sure, but it was super long time ago, right? So being all like um, created by white people, it's like, dude, those are your ancestors. That would be like me being pissed off because there are words in the English language that come directly from like, Scandinavian languages. Lots of them. Tons of words in the English language come from France, Scandinavia, all over the place, right? So I'm not going to be mad at the freaking Vikings because they did their thing 1,000 years ago because they're part of what I am. And that's what I would tell any like Indians that have a problem with the idea of the invasion happening. I would say, dude, though that is one of the things that made you guys as interesting as you are, and I think that's true of every culture. It's the invasions and then the amalgamations and the combinations and all the shuns, and then you end up with like something most of the time I think better than you started with, because that's just how it works, and so yeah, the idea that the invasion was just English propaganda to try and, trick the Indians into I don't know what, thinking that they were descended from Europeans. Well, guess what? Some of you got some European blood in you through those people, but those people were so long ago. I mean, I might have some of that blood in me. You know what I mean? It's like when you start talking about the Indo-European people, man, you're talking about a broad range of people, a very broad range of people. So, yeah, I'm actually using Folk Art multi-surface metallic, and it's working really well for these things I'm painting because they're 3D painted resin and 3D printed. I mean, resin is very porous, so it will suck up even like craft paint and stuff like that. I'm not saying I would paint my actual miniatures I've created with it, but for terrain pieces, I try to use apple barrel and stuff like that as much as possible to save the more expensive paints for the actual miniatures. And I've got some miniatures sitting in front of me that I need to download and work on. But I want to get these guys done so they got plenty of time to dry. Saw the like one of the coolest videos ever last night, in my opinion, but I will admit to being easily impressed. It was a woman in Thailand doing a karaoke. She was doing like a remake of is it Murray Head? One Night in Bangkok. And she had a thick accent, but she did a great job, And it's just like, it's just hilarious, because Thailand used to be Siam. So, you know, Siam's going to be the witness of the ultimate test of cerebral fitness. All right. This interests me way more than a muddy river reclining Buddha. All right. But thank God I'm only controlling the game. Yeah, because, he wouldn't want to be a piece on the chess table getting sacrificed, would he? In some battle. So, but yep, I favorited the video so I can find it if I ever decide to watch again. Love that song. Took me years to realize it was about playing chess in Bangkok. What did you think it was about? And don't feel silly, because I had a friend that I had to argue with for like an hour before he would realize that it is not about Thai lady boys, which is what he thought it was about. Thai lady boys. And I'm like, no. And he's like, but it just talks about queens and stuff and mating and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I get my kicks above the waistline, sunshine. Right? Dun, 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 dun. One night in Bangkok. Yeah. But the whole thing, I mean, if you really listen to the lyrics, I'd let you watch. I would invite you, but the queens we use would not excite you. So go back to your bars, your temples, your massage parlors. It's like, yeah. And he talks about how it's always someplace like, Iceland, the Philippines, or this place. I left out a place, but you know what I mean. Hastings, I think he says. Hastings, the Philippines, Iceland, or this place. And of course, like I said, that verse, this year is going Siam is going to be the witness to the ultimate test of cerebral fitness. And then the chorus is all like, it's a drag, it's a bore. It's really such a pity to be looking at the board, not looking at the city. And he's like, what do you mean? You seen one dirty, stinking, polluted town? Like, get tied. You're dealing with a tourist whose every move's amongst the purest. Dun, dun, dun. I get my kicks above the waistline, sunshine. Dun, dun, dun. One night. I think that was like the only song he's like famous for. But boy, what a song. Like, way to come out of nowhere and just make a song about chess championships. And, it become like something that people 40 years later are sitting in their game room painting, talking to other people halfway around the world about. You know what I mean? It's like Murray Head or Peter Head or whatever your name is. You succeeded at life, good man. You have attained at least a taste of immortality, because, and back in the day, I don't know how old you are, George, but back in the day, a thing down in when I was visiting my mom in Florida, one of the big things, we would do, and this is because everybody back then wasn't helicopter pilots. They basically just let the kids go out and run wild. But like on Saturday night, if my mom had the money, she would take us to the roller rink called the Roller Ranch. It was in Kissimmee. And basically, most of the time, she'd just give us some money for like video games and whatever. Same as me then. And she would leave and be like, okay, the place closes at like midnight. I'll be here at midnight. You know? I mean, we could have left the roller ranch and roamed the streets selling crack or whatever, but back then it was like whatever, you know? And they would play that song and Billie Jean and, you know, and you go and try to work up the courage to talk to girls, but then not because, you know, you were shy, skinny, you know, nerdy kid. And, but man, roller skating around the freaking rink with all those badass 80s tunes going, you know. And that was one of them. Billie Jean, I think, was the most overplayed one at my roller rink, you know, skating rink. It was like all the time. Every night you went there, you were going to hear Billie Jean. Just count on it, you know. Like at one point, they must have had 4 Michael Jackson songs in rotation. It was like, but I mean, everybody loved Michael Jackson, so who cares? Janet from their planet, you're not shy. I've seen you on Bruce's channel. I used to be shy. Oh man. It took the army and 2 divorces for me to become talkative. But I was just reminiscing about the songs that would play at our local roller rink, which was called the Roller Ranch and was done up all Western themed, like cowboys and stuff. Because back then, before everybody immigrated down here, when it was just, you know, locals and a few immigrants, and by immigrants, I mean like me, Florida, Central Florida, especially before Disney was really, really big, it was all orange groves and cattle fields as far as I could see. So even though this wasn't Texas, you would see guys walking around with those pointy boots and freaking cowboy hats. And we have a massive, it's still out there. We have a massive ranch here owned by the Mormons called Deseret. And parts of that ranch are like in 3 different counties, is how big it is. I mean, it would take an hour to drive across Deseret, you know? I know that because I lived out there for a little while, and the school bus would pick us up, and it took an hour or so to get to school, you know? Actually, a little more. But me and another buddy would always sit together in Hungar, and we would play D&D. So, yeah, Billie Jean was like that was like the shit back then, man. You'd hear like the bass line kick, that doom 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 doom, and, you know, and then it was like doot 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 doot, and yeah, man, everybody be. But that was just how it was for us Gen Xers. Is like your parents would drop you off at the roller ranch or the mall and be like, all right, I'll be back at whenever, you know, here's some money if you need food or something. Or if you had your own money from working. And then they'd go. And at some point, parents got super freaking like, you know, I think it was after what's his name started doing the TV show about all the missing children and everything. And it just scared the snot out of a lot of parents. And they started being a lot more like,
Hello.
hey, what's up, Les? A lot less trusting and a lot more, you know, you can't go out because, you know, You could be kidnapped. But
Perks of living in a rural area. You kind of don't usually have to worry about that.
oh yeah, I never had any problem. But I'm saying back in the day, like when my parents split, my mom and my biological dad split up, I would spend time in both places, and she would take us to this roller ranch
Yeah.
and just drop us off, give us some money for video games and drinks and whatever, and boom, gone, you know? And it wasn't even considered weird because it was like everyone was doing that. Cheyenne High School, because the sisters were all built like Richard Marx was okay. Yeah, I liked Richard Marx.
I never had that issue. Most female women in mine were not very big.
In your high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was this one girl, and
Oh,
the one
again,
I
there was.
finally managed to talk to in high school. And man, like probably if anybody else saw her, they would think that she wasn't all that pretty or whatever. But for some reason, I just thought she was the most attractive thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Hey, people get their crushes. Huh? I had
Oh
some.
no, I mean, I actually worked up the courage to talk to her, and
I was a very shy kid too
you
whenever I was
know,
young.
date and all that. Well, kind of date as in I'll see you tomorrow at school. I mean, when you live, like 40 miles away from each other and you ain't got a car, I mean, there's not a lot of dating. They're blonde, and after a boy that liked me, that's just mean of them. See, me and Hungar, we always had a rule. If we ever saw a girl, and we would ask each other, like, do you like her? Do you like her? And if we both liked her, then we'd rock, paper, scissors. And then the rule was, though, if any girl, um, if any girl dated us, then that girl would be off limits to the other one forever. And because ain't no way I want to be Eskimo brothers with my actual real life brothers right here waiting for you. You're right there waiting for what? Don't make me call Bruce on you. But yeah, your sister should have been nicer about that. They should have. There's no excuse for that. But yeah, that would be the deal if there was like a new girl that got put in class or something, or because my school was very small.
My school was very small too, but me and my brother never really had that issue. Though I didn't like many. Like I didn't really have any ladies I liked in my school that much.
Right? So it was like, yeah, yeah. I think this girl that the girl I talked to and kind of dated until I came back to Florida. And by dated, like made out behind the basketball uh, um, stands and stuff like that. I think she might have been um, Indian and not from India, but she had the longest, or she could have been Mexican because she had the longest, blackest hair.
Not bad.
And I really liked that.
Yeah, I do too.
I was like, nice. Richard Marx. Didn't Richard Marx do the one about damn it. I remember what the song's about, but I don't remember. Basically, like, I guess he gets accused of murdering some girl, but really the sheriff did it. And like part of the song is he's talking about how when he left her, she was alive. Or maybe she had, did a self delete, control alt delete. But either way,
I have no clue.
yeah, well, we're talking old songs, like back when MTV played music and stuff.
I remember MTV playing music very early in my childhood, but still, it was a thing.
Yep. I remember when MTV started and the first song they played was Video Killed the Radio Star by the
Yeah,
Bangles.
I know that song.
Yeah. And they were basically, it was like,
Wasn't too long though. Whenever I was more watching MTV, they went to the live actions. Those what do you call it? Those prank
Hazard,
stuff
yeah.
or something. Where they had Bam Margera doing
Science
stupid
and
stuff.
religion do not belong together. They're the same thing, Vic, you retrobate.
If it wasn't for Christianity, a lot of science would not have happened. A lot of our greatest scientists in history were all Christian.
Or if some religion, if you want to add in the Chinese to it, Confucianism.
Fair.
Yeah, it's weird how I think, and I know Vic wasn't meaning anything. Taxation is theft. Science, science is the
It's the study of nature. It's the.
I understand that, but
I'm trying
had
to
a
explain it
more
the way I
science is
remember.
how we explain everything, and the rational mind is a gift from
Oh no,
our
here it
creator.
was. I was trying to say it this way. Science is the study of God's law,
Right.
natural law, but not his written law that he
It's
gave
like more
us.
and more and more people are starting to realize that, um, the whole there just isn't really a lot of argument between. If people who think there's an argument between religion and science are people who don't understand one or the other, or maybe even both.
Yeah.
But working on the card game, cool.
Working on what card game?
I'm painting hedgehogs. And by hedgehogs, I mean these things.
Well, Vic, I can't wait for you to put up that the deck of curses on drive-through now.
How are you doing, Mr. Games? For criminal bald eagles. Oh man. How are you doing, Mr.? It's like the people from Twitch are always the wildest.
In
And
either
Vic's
way.
like, Vic's got to work, and plus he got a new ride, so we won't be seeing Vic. He's going to be out running the streets like a wild man, in memory of Vic. Not that anything bad happened, just that, he's hanging out at the Buc-ee's. Yeah, working on it right now. The current topic, I think we were talking about being Gen X and getting dropped off at the roller rink when you're like 15 years old with like a $5 bill and your mom telling you she would pick you up like at midnight.
We used to go out bowling.
Yep.
Not as the kids alone, just the whole family would do that.
Yep.
I don't even think we have a bowling alley anymore.
I don't think we do either around where I am in Orlando, but
It's kind of weird.
been trolling Republican and Democrat politic channels.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Some of them are both weird. Like sometimes there's weird Republicans on there too. Anybody
Well,
who
I mean,
sides with like what was it, McConnell, definitely are crazy.
yeah. Anybody that likes Mitch McConnell or that Graham.
Or that
Yeah, I
one-eyed
did a lot of
monster from
thinking
Texas.
about religion last night, Left,
Really?
and I realized something.
What?
I'm going to become even more fanatical in the coming year.
Yay!
It's
Come
like,
to the dark side with me.
no, I'm going to the light side.
Technically, yes.
Like, I have that on a meme though. It shows this guy and it's like, after further consideration, I've decided to become even more zealous in my religion.
It makes me think of that one thing with Harry and his friend, or not Harry,
Billy
Peter.
Graham. I'm not a fan of Billy Graham. I'm not a fan of how Mitch McConnell is from my home state, and I have no idea what in the hell. I guess everyone that runs against him just sucks.
No, it's more that he usually gets the farm vote.
You're willing to give Trump 90 days to prove his worth. It doesn't matter because you're going to have him for 4 years.
Yeah, give him the 4 years. We'll see what happens.
You can love on that 90 days, Big Vic, but you got 4 years of it. So buckle in, buddy. Nibiru is an alien plant. Yeah. You're talking like Anunnaki and all that weird shit. Him and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, back before humanity had even climbed out of the slime.
Now there was something I wanted to
Nancy
talk about.
Pelosi and freaking Mitch McConnell were, rampaging around fighting dinosaurs and shit.
Now I lost track of what I was wanting to talk about.
Like before he got elected to the Senate or Congress or whatever, he used to just live in cave systems in Kentucky and eat campers.
And cocaine.
But then somehow he got elected.
You forgot the cocaine part there.
Oh, yeah, he likes his cocaine. That's not even like a rumor. That's like a, just deal with it. Homeboy likes his cocaine. Well, how he's still even in a position, I don't know, because that dude, he'll be standing there trying to talk, and then he'll just go to some other dimension.
Probably the same way we get that stupid governor.
I'm just saying, it's like that guy is not there.
Oh, no.
Like, he is all the way gone somewhere else.
Same. He's pulling a Biden on us.
Yeah. He just freaking, Mitch McConnell has exited the building. I saw them taking it all the time back when I used to be on. I wouldn't admit that. The NSA is watching. They're going to be like, this guy, huh? We're going to check him out. Next thing you know, your Alexa will be listening in on you and shit.
And your Tesla will drive you to the to the police station.
Yeah, you'll get in the Tesla and it'll just drive your ass automatically right to the police station. You'll be like, well, okay then.
Oh, God.
Oh, you weren't. This guy, no shame. But anywho, so did you manage to get any gaming in this?
We're gonna have a session 0 this Saturday.
Which game?
This is the White Wolf system one.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. What do we got here? We got a Janet. Hello, Janet.
Hey.
How are you?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, you're muted.
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I just finished an 8-hour stream over on X and Rumble and LinkedIn. Did the
What we're
Cash
streaming about?
Patel, the Cash Patel thing. Good.
I
So
really
you have,
haven't been following a lot of that stuff. I've been a lot more concerned with just like game related stuff.
well, I can help it. I'm an Air
No?
Force brat.
You're a what?
Air Force brat.
Oh, well, I'm an Army, not Brad. I was in the Army. So,
Well, I wasn't in the Army or the Air Force. My dad told us girls, he had 5 daughters, the military is no place for a woman.
it's what they, I think it's something they put in the water because I had nothing but daughters too.
Oh, really?
So it must be something they put in the military food.
Well, I don't know. My mom had 2 boys. They just didn't, they just didn't live. But I had
Well,
2
it
brothers.
used to be that way, sadly. My grandmother had 3 that didn't live because they had, her and my grandfather had different blood types, but it was before they had developed that shot that, you know how now you just go get shot and it doesn't matter?
No, not really.
Okay, basically, if you were to marry and have children with somebody that had like very different blood types than you,
My little sister has AB negative blood, so hers is rare.
yeah, but this is if you and your spouse, mate, whatever, have like can blood that don't like each other. When the baby is being born, the mother's blood can kill the baby.
I didn't know that.
But then now, that's why when you went to get married, they did blood tests.
Oh, I thought that was to see if you had diseases.
Well, probably that too, but I mean,
they don't do that anymore. They don't.
They don't have to now. You go to the doctor, you're like, I'm pregnant. They give you a shot, you're good. I mean, boom, But my grandmother had 11 children, but unfortunately, 3 of them died at birth because her and my grandfather's blood types were so different. But yeah, it's not any. Now, me and the bear of my spawn were both APOS, so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
O positive. Anybody can use my blood. I used to donate all the time. I've given over, 4 gallons of blood since I was old enough to give blood. And I used to donate platelets because I have a high platelet count too.
Weird Bigfoot Central says it has to do with the RH positive and negative. Yeah, I'm telling you, it used to be a big problem. And when you live in Eastern Kentucky, where most people back then were giving birth to their kids in their house, in their bed, with maybe their mom or grandma holding their hand, you know what I mean? People just didn't know because it really was like growing up in 1780. Like we had an outhouse. We didn't have running water in our house. We did have electricity though.
Now, my grandpa, when we would travel, every time my dad would go, go on TDY or whatever, like we lived in Spokane, Washington, or we lived in Maine,
Nice.
different places. And we would travel to Oklahoma and Texas to where my grandpa lived. And the first house I remember, I was real little because he had an outhouse.
Yep. We had an outhouse.
It was scary, but
oh no!
Never sat on a snake or anything.
Waking up at 3 a.m. and wading through the snow, 50 yards to the house because you got poop.
Yeah, we shoot horses. That's what my grandpa did.
We didn't have a horse there. We had a milk cow, and we raised a pig, one, and we grew various crops depending on the season. A lot of string beans, as we call them, because they're the ones that vine up and you put the strings so they can vine up. And then you go out and you pick them and you got to crack them and pull that fibrous thing off. But,
snapping peas is what my grandma called it.
Yep.
We had to do that when we go.
Man, Maine is the only northern state I would ever want to visit.
Well,
that
that's
I
when
haven't already.
one of my sisters was born there. I have two sisters that were born in Georgia. I was born in Newfoundland, and my youngest sister was born in the Philippines.
Oh my God. You're
So
a
we
new.
were all over the place. Yeah, I'm a newfie. But my sister Sandy was born in Maine, so she's a maniac.
So if I say something about getting the fire going in the suck so we can have a cup of tea.
Yeah, my dad's family is all from New York, Maine, and Nova Scotia. All up in there. My mother's family was all from my great grandmother grew up on the Indian reservation in Oklahoma, Chickasaw, and
Chickasaw.
and my all my relatives on my mama's side, cousins and all that are from Oklahoma and Texas.
Yeah, we were talking about the Chickasaw just the other day. Me and Raven, because in 18 something, the Chickasaw had a war against a family of Bigfoots.
Oh, really?
And they wrote it down. Yeah, they wrote it down. Their chief got killed. One of the Bigfoots knocked his head clean off. But the Bigfoots were apparently sneaking into their villages and stealing women and stuff and eating them.
Yeah.
So this guy got all of the warriors together to go put an end to that nonsense. And they ended up putting them down. But, of course, they were all armed with rifles. And
I'm reading the chat. Someone said, Patel gave me his Cash App. Patel is, you're not talking about Cash Patel, are you?
Cash Patel, Cash App. Yeah, if you see the little blue thing, that means they're on Twitch. Mm-hmm. And the Twitch people are always freaking maniacs.
Well, I've been trying. Do you guys have Kick? Are you guys on Kick?
No, I don't know what Kick is.
I know what it is. It's just I never been on it.
I'm just trying to figure out how to go live over there, because today I was live on X, Rumble, and LinkedIn, but I don't know how to do Kick. Every time I try, it doesn't work. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Because when I aired on Kick doing a Girl Guide in a movie, it worked on Bruce's. I clicked it on. I just clicked on the stuff to fill it out for Bruce's thing, and it worked. So.
Yeah, I know. With Rumble, you have to create the fact that you're going to stream, and then it gives you a.
Yeah, and it asks for that when you
fill out the thing. You just put the
and
number.
I go and I get the streaming link, and then you got to get the what's it called? The stream key.
Right.
And it says where to put it in. I put it in, but it still doesn't do anything. It's weird because I can do it on LinkedIn. It's the same thing. LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok, whatever else, all the other stuff, you have to have that same stuff. But for some reason, Kick doesn't want to work. But it works when I do it on his. That's what's it's weird.
Vic, we've already been over this. Second cousins is fair game. According to Iceland, because there's so few people there that they have an app. If you go into a bar and you meet a girl and you're hitting it off, you can look on the app and see how related you are to her.
Oh that's
but in the United States of America, in many, if not most states, you can marry your second cousin.
Yeah, so, I guess that would be. I don't know. I wouldn't want to.
I don't know any of my second cousins, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't know any of mine either.
Yeah, it's weird,
Usually just immediate family, like first cousins and aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces. You'll see them eventually or sometimes.
Yeah, that's how it is. Every time I go home, it's I get to meet all the people. Le Fleur incident, usually ascribed to a band of Braves and cavalrymen having a tussle with the Bigfoot in Oklahoma. Well, Bigfoot, dude, you could be 100% right. That could be the thing. because I think that the chief of the Choctaw or whatever did have a French name. Vic, you're from Minnesota. You guys are got no room to talk about anybody. And you eat rotten fish, so yeah.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
They eat that lutefish.
What's
Lutefisk.
that?
Lutefisk, it's literally fermented rotten fish.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, in the Philippines, they eat balut.
Oh God, yeah. That is
So,
like that should be
my
some
dad
form
used to
of
eat them,
animal cruelty.
but he was always drunk. What I remember, he ate them.
Yeah, I remember watching Anthony Bourdain eat one and being like, it tastes kind of like roast chicken. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, they'd bury him in the ground. Ooh.
He's like, get out of here.
But
I'm
I've
not
eaten.
any
I ate
partially.
bat before.
You've ate what?
Bat.
A
Ew.
bat.
Yeah.
Bat.
Well, I didn't know it was bat, and I also ate something else that they eat a lot over there, but I didn't know that's what it was. Because I was a kid. I was just a little kid. I was like 6.
Yeah. You know, that's how you get AIDS.
Well, I'm healthy as an ox.
Didn't say anything about sushi. Lutefisk isn't sushi.
Yeah. Yeah. They all show up at their international Scandinavian Day with all their rotten fish and all their flags. That's why they named their football team the Vikings.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they
Well, I
The
had
hang
weirdest
out.
thing I've ever eaten was beef tongue.
I love beef tongue.
I've
Yeah,
had
no, it's
cow
nice.
tongue. Have you had buffalo?
I have, and I made the unfortunate mistake because I'm ignorant of when I ordered the buffalo burger
Mm-hmm.
to tell them I wanted it well done. And I found out later that if you eat buffalo, you always want to eat it like rare, medium rare,
Because there's no fat in it, hardly.
because there's no fat in it.
Yeah, and it's all dried out.
And you end
It's
up
like
eating a
leather.
hockey puck.
I see what I'm making.
I see something. I
Big
don't know.
bags, and I cut them up, and then I make loops. I cut them in lines,
Yeah.
and then I tie them together, and that's how I make my. It's called plarn, plastic yarn. That's how I crochet my bags with.
Where's the wings on a buffalo? What's up, Muktuk?
You just give it Red Bull. That'll give them wings.
Yeah, Red Bull. You just pour Red Bull into the chicken's watering.
I haven't had any soda pop in like 15 years. Not a single. I drink lemonade, tea, milk, water, and coffee. Basically, that's it.
That is
Juice.
really good. I wish I could be that way. I mean, I've got a sugar-free root beer,
Mm-hmm.
but
And I don't drink
it's big
anything diet. Nothing diet because it has aspartame in it.
because it's well, I probably during my years as a firefighter, I've probably inhaled so much garbage. I'm going to die of something.
Well, we're all gonna die. From the
Yeah,
moment
but I
we're
mean,
born.
most firefighters die within 5 years of retirement.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And it's usually from rare cancers like pancreatic cancer, kidney cancer, brain cancer.
Oof.
Because anytime you go into a fire, even though you're in your gear, when you take your gear off, you touch it.
Yeah.
So all those nasty chemicals.
Yeah, all those firemen from 9/11, a lot of them have.
Oh, they're totally screwed up
and
because
stuff.
they got all that asbestos and everything all in them.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm reading this. This guy had researched that. The story is a modern creation. Don't tell me that. I want to believe. Based on something that may have happened, though, to the Kiowa tribe. Okay. So, yeah. World Bigfoot dude, I don't believe in a lot
I
of
eat sushi.
supernatural things, but I do believe in a lot of what other people think are supernatural things. Like, I don't think Bigfoot come from another dimension. I don't think he's an alien. I think it's probably some kind of hominid that lives up in the taiga, and it's smart enough to know that we are death.
Good. I mean, really, there's a lot of creatures out there that we think are extinct that probably aren't.
Well, the thing is, yeah, we found lots of animals in the ocean that we never even seen before.
Well, the ocean is
Near the
literally
Ori.
hell on earth.
Yeah.
I mean,
we thought the coelacanths were extinct, and we found those.
Mhm.
First thing we tried to do
absolutely-
was eat it, and it's like, oh, it tastes like crap. We don't eat
Yeah.
these things.
I
And then
absolutely
we realized, hey,
would
if you build a
never
fire, maybe it tastes good. But I like sushi, so I eat
Oh, I
that.
love sushi, but it's like the last Neanderthals. Maybe there's. I was watching something the other day. Nerdy Ogre says hi to Janet. That
Yeah, I
was
said
saying
hi
that
to 'em.
we might be the last Neanderthals. Because the out of Africa theory, throw that away. That's no longer even a thing.
Shouldn't have been a thing.
Humanity,
That
the
was
hominids
just,
and all that come from somewhere like Turkmenistan and, like the center there, and then migrated in every direction. Because look at like Africans, right? They didn't evolve from whatever to a hominid with all the melanin. They moved into Africa, and because they lived on these plains where the sun was beating down on their ass day in and day out, they developed melanin.
Because we
But
can
the
do that. That's
natural,
why we're
like,
able to tan.
right.
And
Whereas
your eyes will turn brown because they got to defend themselves from the sun.
Exactly. Whereas I can't tan. I
But
literally.
my
will
dad's
go to
eyes were
tan.
brown, and my mother's eyes were blue, and I only have one sister that has brown eyes. So weird, huh?
My wife has green eyes, jade green, but she's from Denmark, her family and all that. So I don't know.
oh, dirty. That's funny.
Yeah, nerdy ogre. Shave your back, bro. Muck duck. But yeah, like when Raven McMinn is on, we'll talk about all like and especially Bear, because Bear's all like, that's all woo-woo bullshit. And I'm like, but it might not be. Like the last big one was
One day we'll see. He might see something and not know what it is, and that's what always makes someone wake up.
Well, Bear's seen a lot of stuff, but he was not believing in the power of ley lines, and of course Raven was like, ley lines do all this weird shit. And I was like, well, ley lines are magnetic lines, so who knows what could happen when like rivers of magnetic energy cross each other. You know what I mean? It could be something perfectly explainable, natural, and rational. It doesn't mean that extraterrestrial, interdimensional things are doing anything.
That's demons.
I'm a naturalist, I guess, is what I'm
But
saying.
I do believe in aliens. I do believe in other. I believe
Come on,
other
James.
beings have been to this planet.
Haven't you seen
And
demons?
I honestly believe that some are living here. I really do.
I don't believe in aliens at all.
No,
and
me
I believe
neither.
that most people who think they've seen an alien have probably seen a demon.
Yep. Same for ghosts.
Yeah, same for ghosts.
What about spaceships coming up out of the ocean?
Why are they coming up from out of the ocean?
Because that's where they live down there.
And maybe they're native to down there.
Yeah, maybe we are just like we were kicked out.
Or maybe we're just the newest model. And they've been down there since
But there's always going to be stuff we're never going to understand because we're not on Earth long enough. You know what I mean? Right. Our lifespans aren't long enough for us to collect all the knowledge, and that's why it's important for us to.
Have you ever read any H.P. Lovecraft?
Yeah, some.
The Elder Things ended up leaving the land and going to the deepest part of the ocean to build their cities.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they're kind of alien or
okay, Dirty, I'm gonna do that now.
Okay. What if
sorry, if you see what he said, I had to say that.
The thing you think is an alien is a Lemurian, like a lizard person.
Well, when I say an alien, it doesn't necessarily mean with slanty eyes and big giant hands and from another planet. It just means this alien is something we don't know what it is.
Okay.
It could
Yeah.
be-
Okay.
it
I
could
can
be.
deal with that.
I don't believe that we have a hole in the center of the earth and there's a whole other world in there. And I don't
Oh,
believe that
Agartha?
there's, yeah, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in a flat earth, but I do believe that maybe we did evolve and we almost destroyed ourselves. So they decided to take their technology and go under the ocean for whatever reason, okay, and build something down there. But we haven't been able to get the technology to go deep enough yet without crushing.
I've always had that problem.
But the thing is that there's so many unanswered. We got so many unanswered things, but we have I don't know, remnants of things. Like I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm not closed off to anything like that, but it could be from another planet. I don't know.
Better
But I
question.
don't believe by looking out on a telescope that we're the only planet in the galaxies that has life on it. I just don't believe that.
Better question, Nerdy Ogre. What if birds were actually real and not just spying devices?
The problem you're going to run into with that thought, man, is that everything
God
you say,
says in the Bible, He created the heavens and the earth. It doesn't mean there wasn't another.
well, yeah, he split the firmament from the sea and all that. Yeah. No, what I'm saying though is you're going to run up against the Fermi paradox, which states that if there were any intelligent life anywhere near us, by now we would know.
Not necessarily.
So the fact that we
Not unless they
haven't
wanted to
seen
be
them
found.
at this point,
Because
and that's called the dark forest theory,
Mhm.
where every alien race is hiding because every time one of them gets found, somebody gets destroyed.
Well, that's why I believed Star Trek so much. When my dad first showed me the when we saw that one thing where they show how the Vulcans found us and they finally made first contact, was because they waited until we were right, until we had enough technology to understand and believe that they're not some kind of God, that type of thing. And I just loved it. I used to watch it with my dad all the time, the reruns on TV.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry had a very optimistic view of the future.
Yeah.
The
We know
reality
what
would
really
probably be more like
Them.
or what happened when the first Europeans landed in the New World.
Yeah.
That's more likely to be the scenario.
It's like
Maybe.
a foreign power will find a new place and go,
Did you guys see
hey,
that
more
movie,
resources to exploit.
Tomahawk or whatever? Bone Tomahawk. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. That was a crazy movie.
Yeah, but a lot of people believe that kind of stuff really happened. Just think about it. You have a tribe of people that go in and they kill all the men and take the women and they chop their legs off so that they can't leave. They can't run away so that they can carry on their race, basically.
Gene Roddenberry was a hippie with a job.
So
Yeah,
it's pretty
well,
sickening. But
he
as
did
much
have a
of the
job.
nasty stuff that people do to each other now on this planet and all the kinky people with all these weird fetishes and stuff, I can believe that there'd be somebody out there that would do something like that. I mean, like that tribe, it's supposedly in the Amazon that anybody that goes in there don't come out because they eat them or kill them or whatever.
Yeah, there's that tribe over in I think it's Sentinel Island off the coast of India, and you're not allowed to go there ever. And the Indian, it's part of India, but they passed a law saying that if you go to Sentinel Island and get killed, it's your fault. Yeah, Jeff, I don't believe in the benevolent alien theory. I also believe any alien, this is something that Shadow disagrees with strongly, but I really believe any alien that we were to encounter, if they were even possible, would be built basically the same as we are. It'd have a head, 2 limbs, and
Yeah, but it depends on how they evolved. That's another reason why I love the Planet of the Apes movies.
which are 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it could be an insect, it could be a lizard. It's whatever became the dominant creature on that planet. That's what would evolve.
Right.
I honestly believe that. And
Yeah,
it's not
my argument
always a
isn't
humanoid.
like what stock it might be. My argument is by the time it reached intelligence, it would have a humanoid form.
Hey, dolphins are very, very intelligent. So are whales.
You don't want to even get into what.
No, I'm just saying, intelligence isn't always based on whether you speak words like we do. We could just go, you know.
Yeah, but they're also into fighting wars and forming.
I'm just saying, I'm open.
Gangs to run around and kidnap women to abuse. They are like
they might not even have women. They might be amphibian and just, you know, like the movie. What was the name of that movie with Dennis Quaid?
That's a great movie.
Enemy Mine. Yeah, because me and Bruce did that, and he just, you know, they're not male or female. They're both genders, and it's just like some frogs. They just, you know, turn male when they need to be and female when they need to be, depending on the bad weather or droughts or, you know, things like that to evolve, you know.
The Drac, they just, like the Drac said, you know, you live your life and then sometimes.
Yeah, remember 3, 4, 5. Oh, he was so cute, that little kid.
But, I'm talking about the Drac that was played by
Louis Gossett Jr.
Louis Gossett Jr. When he's explaining how it works, and he's just like, you live your life and then you get pregnant. I mean, so
when the time it comes, you don't know.
The time comes.
It's different.
Octopi, they might actually, and they're weird too. See, I always used to think Star Trek was full of shit because Vulcans have copper-based blood, until I found out how many animals on Earth have copper-based blood. And I was like, wait a minute then. So that's some crazy shit.
Science is already showing that
all of you be wrong, and actually what we do find out there are robots made by humans before, like, far before any of us could even imagine. Eggs on your faces.
Well, not only that, but assuming that there could be aliens somewhere, the chances of us ever encountering them are
nil.
Well, my dad told me a story. He said, remember, Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and they were the only ones there, and they could have anything they wanted, right? And he said, but until Eve was tempted by the serpent, and she ate of the fruit of knowledge, and she told Adam about it, and he ate it too. So they were both kicked out because now they knew they were naked. They understood things that they wouldn't have understood before if they had left the tree alone and lived in bliss, right? But once they were kicked out and she had children, 2 sons, well, guess what? They were told to go to Enoch and find wives. Well, where did those people come from? See, my dad said those were the other beings that were already here before Adam and Eve were brought to this earth.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot. I'm just saying, my dad was Air Force too, so he believed in all that woo-woo stuff about other planets and aliens and stuff. Well, he said, he said we had GPS back during the before the Nazi war.
Well, I know we had GPS during the Gulf War.
They just say, okay,
we used it.
Well, my dad had he gave me a bunch of maps, and they're made out of silk, so I make stuff out of them that they used because you couldn't have a paper map, you know, out there, you know, stuff like that. He was jungle survival, so, you know, he did all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I just believe there's just so many things. I'm very open to listening to information because there's just like your imagination when you read books, you know, you read all these books and there's so many things like Lord of the Rings, you know, all these different creatures and all these stories. And, they came from somewhere, a spark from somewhere. And then all the cave drawings and just statues and lost cities that are found in the jungle with weird carvings. And we just don't know. I'm just saying. So I won't ever say I don't believe what.
The Book of the Nine Gates.
Good luck on that, Vic.
The Book of the Nine Gates is from a movie, but also supposedly in rumor may have existed. And it basically was supposed to instruct a person on how to go about summoning Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was there were 3 books that survived to modern time, and 2 of them were thought to be mistranslations, while the other one was real.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got your hands on the real one and you figured out how to translate it, you could summon the devil himself and become immortal and whatever, right? But it ended up, what the real problem was is all 3 books were slightly fake. That basically the secret was hidden a little bit in each book. Mm-hmm. And how it was hidden is in woodcut art. If it had an LCR at the bottom as the artist, that was important because it was, Lucifer.
So that's how they did it in that one cartoon.
Well, I'm writing my own book, and it's a book
there's
about
a movie about it,
where I believe vampires could come from if we really did have them, because I've always had a problem with believing that God would curse someone and make them kill others. You know what I mean?
Well, if you ever played White Wolf, you would know that vampires come from Cain.
Well, my book that I'm writing, what happened is that Satan was kicked out of heaven by God. He was mad at him and he wouldn't repent, so he kicked Satan out and his other angels that followed, Lucifer, basically. And when he came to earth, he was pissed because God gave us humans the right to choose to serve God or not to serve him when the archangels were all created to serve God. And he was jealous. So he started trying to find someone to tempt them to see if he could get some people to hurt God by doing bad things and hurting God and denouncing God. So what he did is he got one guy who was a bookbinder and asked him if he would like to live forever. And he said, yeah, he would, because he was a child molester and all this different stuff. He was really, really evil man. So he makes a pact with him. And so he tells him, if you help me make this, do this, I'll let you live forever. And so he starts thinking, I don't trust this Satan guy. So I want to make a contract that I can get out of this. I want to back out. I can. He'll let me. So
he's like, hold on a second.
Sure, I'll dig a deal with you. So what he does is he sacrifices a bunch of children, but before he does, he takes his like his branding iron, and he brands, but he puts spells on these people's backs, and then he skins them and tans their skin and makes pages for the book, and he calls the book Akashi. So he makes this book, and when he's done with these 9 pages in this book with the spells on it, that's when he says, okay, now you have to sign the contract in the back, and when you sign it, you will be able to live forever. So he does, and when he does, that's when he starts to transform into a vampire, and he starts ravishing all these people and stuff, and he realizes that he was betrayed by Lucifer. Well, God finds out about it and he's mad, so he smites him into hell and all his demons and sends him to hell. But then he has to get white witches to guard Akashi, because he can't let people get the book, okay? Because anyone that touches the book will die because it's so powerful, because it's made by Lucifer, basically himself. And the reason why he can't destroy it, God can't destroy it, is because it was made by a human, which has the power to choose to be good or bad, right? So he has to have humans to guard Akashi from the vampires. And now they got to figure out how to kill and get rid of all the vampires. And that's what my whole story is based on. And it's 2 sisters. One's a white witch and one's a vampire that are hiding and trying to find Akashi so they can break the spell. of being a vampire. So
Forget.
that's my whole book. I'm writing it. I already got the ending written. I just got to get the last chapter to the ending. Done.
Don't pull a Stephen King.
You go, Janet.
But I think it's pretty good. I think it's
It
pretty
sounds
So far,
good.
I've had a few people who have read it, and hold on, let me read. Can I read you the synopsis for it?
Yes.
Let me go to my website real quick and
I go. I'll see you.
Bye, love.
see you
Bye,
later.
Larry. Be
I
that
just
way.
came about to say hi to Janet because she's my YouTube wifey.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I was doing a live stream for almost 8 hours. And when I saw your brother's stream up, I went, hey, I want to just see if, and then I saw the link. Because at first I didn't know that. And I was like, that's kind of dangerous to let
I always
anybody
put
in
the
their
link out
brother.
there. If somebody tries to join that I don't want to join, I can tell them no.
Good.
Well,
Before
yeah,
anyone can
I know
join, I
that.
got the yes or no. Who's the cutie in the pink sweatshirt? That's Janet from another
Who
planet.
said that?
I was gonna say hi to
Not your Echo, who I believe Andre.
how did you know I was wearing a pink sweatshirt?
No, me.
He's
I
being
never
funny.
I'm cold a little bit. Okay, here's a synopsis for my book. It says, after signing a contract with Satan, Cyrus unknowingly turns into the very first vampire. The contract that Satan named Akashi is the only way to undo the vampire curse. This started a war between the dark and the light that has lasted thousands of years. Cyrus used this skill as a bookbinder to make Akashi. This book unleashed a war against God and his beloved humans. Cyrus realizes he was tricked by Satan after ravaging an entire village in the search of blood and creating the beginning of a vampire race. Once Jeanette was chosen to join the Dark Ones without her consent, her sister Sandra must use her powers as a white witch to break the spell and free her sister's soul. Now they search for Akashi while on the run for their lives. Sandra and Jeanette create a haven protected by magic, a small town they call Revelation. They gather other lost souls along their journey and recruit others who pledge their loyalties to the light, hoping to one day use Akashi and end this horrific nightmare so humans can live the life the way God had planned it in the beginning. There you go.
Cool.
That's my book.
I'm gonna go make dinner. I just wanted to pop out and say hi.
Well, good. It's nice to see you. Yeah, I can't stay much longer. I got to go and finish folding my clothes and stuff. I'm doing laundry. But yeah, because I had to sit here most of the time doing my stream. So I didn't get to stay forever. But I just want to stop in and say hi to everybody. So thanks for letting me hang out.
Oh no, anytime. You know, I'm always pretty open with having whoever on. Bruce joins me a lot of times.
Yeah, he's at work right now, I
We
think.
paint together. And
Yeah, one day I'll paint. I just haven't gotten that brave yet.
yeah. Well, the big answer is to Nerdy Ogre that they did have some form of free will, but the biggest thing about it is that one of them in particular was very prideful, and that pride, led to the downfall. But if you go into like old stuff, you find out that actually the first angel to fall was not Lucifer. It was Azazel and Samael. And
Yeah,
the
my
reason they
book has
fell-
archangels in it too. The scribe, God's scribe that's writing the book of life. He's the only archangel that was not made an angel, that he was a human that became an archangel.
Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, yes, the angels to a degree have some choice, but what they don't have is a soul.
Yeah.
That is the issue. Plus, the angels were super proud, and they were really upset that God expected them to pay us reverence, since we're just meat bags. They didn't like it.
He
They thought
couldn't
it was kind
create
of
anything because Lucifer was, pride. He was very proud. He was the most beautiful angel,
yep. But
and all
some
the other
stories
angels
talk
looked up to him.
about some angels that came down to earth and immediately lusted after the daughters of man and took some as wives, and everything that they gave birth to was basically a monster. And so that's where you get the giants and the Nephilim and everything like that. And then on top of that, you have to remember that Adam had a first wife, according to some writings, Hebrew
Lilith?
writings,
Lilith?
who left the garden and had sex with the beasts of the field and gave birth to any number of demonic entities and exists to this day. And her favorite thing, and her daughters, the Lilith, is to sneak in and kill infants in the crib. Even the ancient Assyrians and Babylonians and all that talk about her. Like, she goes way back. And yeah. Now, in modern day, people want to use her to represent freedom and blah, 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 blah. But no, the reality is she was an evil person who didn't do what she was supposed to do. And it's so hard to imagine when you think about this is a being that actually heard the voice of God. And yet, after hearing the voice of God and knowing for a fact that God existed, chose to rebel. To me, that's just pure stupidity. And yeah. And it's like the demons. They know they're not going to win. But that's never been the point. They corrupt humanity because they know God loves us. And it's the only way to hurt God is to corrupt us. And eventually the time will come when they are all punished and thrown into the pit. But if they play their cards right, according to them, they'll drag enough of us down with them that, they can feel good about it. You know what I mean? That's basically it.
Well, yeah. Well, each of us are on our own journey to find out.
Well, I'm just saying that's the plan.
Yeah.
That's
But I want to say bye to everybody.
well,
Talk to you guys
goodbye
later.
to you.
And I'll see you guys later.
All right, neat.
Thanks.
Salute. Yeah, that's why, like, in modernity, you have people talking about, like, what's the cute? Oh, okay, never mind. I was rereading. You have people, they like to, okay, like all the lesbians got together to have their big music concert. And of course, they named it Lilith Fair because of the whole rebellion of the thing, right? And one of the things you have to bear in mind, or not, up to you, is this. Anytime someone mentions destroying the patriarchy, they're talking about God. God is the patriarch who created everything. So when you hear people talking about we have to destroy the patriarchy, blah, 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 no, they're talking about destroying God. And, therefore, yeah, feminism is just a brand of Satanism. And also part of Karl Marx's whole thesis. And as we know, Karl Marx was a Satanist, like hardcore Satanist. Which is why they, in Russia, they persecuted the church so much. because they were, in fact, Satanists. But that makes sense. I mean, if you follow an ideology that's based around taking other people's shit, which is theft, then what do you think you are? I mean, you're not a good guy, obviously, because good people don't run around stealing other people's goods. So, you know, that's the thing. When you go on Twitter and you see, or X now, all of the Twitter communists, it's like 99% of the time they're communists because they're fat, lazy bastards who can't do anything. I didn't help God's case. Sure, I did. God's case is in the beginning, after he was doing his thing, he created the angels, and the angels were created to serve him. But that doesn't necessarily mean they have to. It means that's what they were created to do. And then some of them decided, nah, we're not going to. And they were cast down. And they took a third of the stars with them. And like I said, the first angel to fall really was Azazel. And his issue was lusting after the daughters of man. And creating the Nephilim and all that sort of thing. But no. God is, here's the thing a lot of people don't understand. They're like, if God is so good, why does he punish people? And the logic with that is very simple. In order to be good, a thing has to be just. And in order to be just, there has to be reward or punishment for actions. So God does not force anyone to go to hell. You make choices. Choices that God would much rather you not make. But you make them anyway because you're human. And you have the free will and maybe even a demon trying to lead you astray. And then at the end of it all, you know, everyone receives their due. So there you go. Did Azazel have to sleep with human women? He didn't have to, but he did. He wasn't the only one. There were many of them that did. And then, you know, they created a world where every single thing pretty much on the world and almost every single human on the whole world was corrupted at a genetic level. It was so bad that God had to literally destroy pretty much all life on earth to reset the button because of how bad they had done. You know? And if you read it, it even says these people, they are hanging out and all they had in their hearts was evil all the time. There was no good in them at all. And, you know, if you fast forward to the modern day, I mean, you know, St. Paisios says the time will come when good will be called evil and evil will be called good, blah, 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 like all that. Not to disrespect, you know, the saint. And I mean, you know, that time has been recently, kind of. I mean, with everybody being forced to bow to the rainbow flag and, you know, all these other things that we know are depraved and degenerate in the Bible. But, see, that's the thing. God does not make anything happen to you unless he wants to, right? So if you're standing underneath a coconut tree and a coconut falls out of that tree and cracks you in the head, God had nothing to do with that. You were standing under a coconut tree and a coconut fell and hit you in the head. Right? Right. Also, God doesn't answer a lot of people's prayers for their own good. And if you think about some of the stuff you may have prayed for, you'd understand that logic, It's like, you probably don't actually want what you're asking for. It'll probably screw you up really bad. But yeah. So, yeah. Then again, maybe God hit you on the head with that coconut in the hopes that snap you out of your bullshit, and you'd consider the future and then start maybe living right and rejecting, harmful things. And you never know. You never know. I mean, I believe we in my church, we believe everyone has a guardian angel, but most people don't listen to it because they're too busy listening to their own whatever. But yep. Yeah. But the whole why does good things happen to bad people and why do bad things happen to good people thing, that's not really an argument against God, is basically the thing. I mean, for all we know, it could be a test, because iron is made hard by the hot fire, the hottest fire. So if you want to temper yourself in life, there has to be adversity for you to overcome. Maybe that's a maybe. I'm not like saying that's true. I'm just saying maybe that's what's going on. Maybe we have challenges, but the purpose of the challenges is because we're strong enough to overcome them and become better people. Or we can not and not be better people. I mean, there are some people who believe that every bad thing that ever happens to you is like a gift from God. And it's just like he's trying to make you better. But we're humans and we don't understand, and we never can. I mean, that's the thing. We never can understand. You're talking about being that does not even exist within our universe. So, in the Bible, anytime it says anybody spoke to God, it was actually the Son, not the Father. Nobody speaks to the Father except maybe the angels that guard the throne and the Son. But a human is not capable of even surviving the presence of the Father. So, the man who sat and ate lunch with Abraham in the cool of the day and all that, yeah, that wasn't actually God. Well, I lie. It was God, but it was the Son, not the Father. And you know what's wild? It's so wild that a lot, like, I don't know if you guys remember that one guy. He used to make videos, but now I haven't seen anything from him. But the Amazing Atheist, if you remember that guy, his reason for turning his back on God and becoming the amazing fat piece of shit atheist was because his dad died. Yeah, that's a good explanation. Not your echo. And that's the thing. It's like his father died. And rather than keep the faith, he decided that, well, if his dad died, there's no God. Now, why he would think that is absolutely insane when you consider, how many people die all the time. So, what was so special about his situation that it caused him to lose faith? And all I can assume is maybe he never had it in the first place. I've seen lots of death, and I've seen lots of life, and I've saved people who were dead, or at least the monitor said they were dead, but I got them back. That's life. C'est la vie, and all that. Yeah. Basically, Not Your Echo is saying free will. If God interferes in your life, good or bad, it's interacting with your free will. And that would be self-defeating for the whole point of why we were created. But if it makes you feel any better, there are demons at work constantly on the earth to try and get you to fall and become one of theirs, right? If you're a believer. Here's the weird thing. You know who never hardly ever you hear about? Somebody said this the other day, and I thought it was such really good. If you are not constantly involved in spiritual warfare against demonic forces, that is an incredibly bad thing. Because that means that as far as the demonic forces are concerned, they already own you. So, what do I know? I'm not a priest. I don't know. But I do know priests, and these guys did go to school and learn theology and Greek and, read the original scriptures. And so they know a lot of stuff. And I believe them over, not believing them. I mean, being Orthodox Christian, the one thing about it that is hard is knowing that the forces of hell always got you on the radar. I mean, because we're all sinners, we're all bad. We're always doing bad things. We're humans. And, it's so hard not to be bad, right? But the fact that you're a member of the faith and you're sealed by the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, that makes you the prime target for these evil forces. You're the one they want. Meanwhile, the atheists, like that blue-haired degenerate Destiny, he's never in his whole life ever going to have to worry about demons ever messing with him. And the reason is they already got him. Unless he turns himself around, and it will be no one's fault but his own. Especially with his, trying to groom underage girls or whatever the hell everybody's going off on about lately. It's like, and apparently doing sex stuff with Nick Fuentes. I mean, that's cringe, man. Not only is that super sinful, but that's just cringy shit. Like, can you imagine? I mean, and the fact that Nick Fuentes was down with it too. And it's like, why is it that all of these guys that claim to be like these ultra nationalist, whatever, type dudes end up being, degenerates or, chomos or whatever? And it's the same with like people who are far left. Why is it that every time you turn around, some far left dude is being outed for being a predator? Right? They'll talk all this smack about how better they are than everyone else. They'll virtue signal to the high heavens and everything else. But sure as I am alive right now, it's only a matter of time. Didn't need to know that, man. That is, apparently Destiny and Nick Fuentes had a little bit of a thing, just I don't know. Did they kiss? Because if they kissed, that would be really gay. Otherwise, maybe it was just some Viking love. I joke, I kid, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, you're Nick Fuentes. You've spent 10 years of your life trying to convince the world that you're some kind of far-right nationalist guy, blah, blah, blah. And then you meet some blue-haired freak for some kind of debate. And the next thing you know, you're fooling around with that dude. It's like, somebody needs to get their stuff together, is what I'm saying. Something ain't right. But, I mean, I guess I should be trying to remove the plank from my eye too, though. Of course, the plank in my eye doesn't have anything to do with fooling around with Nick Fuentes or Destiny. So my eye plank is pretty good. You know what I mean? Compared to that. That's just some straight up bad eye plankage right there. That's not a splinter in my brother's eye. That's a damn 12x4 or something. I mean, I don't even know. But yeah, that happened. And then Destiny got hit up for, see, the thing is, and the reason I say stuff about Destiny is because I absolutely despise him as a human being. I know I shouldn't, but I do. Because he's such a bad human being, and he leads so many other people away from the light, the possibility of being good people, whatever, right? He's literally the wolf in sheep's clothing, leading people to hell. And now he's in trouble because, as I said, apparently he was sending prawn videos of himself and all these women without the women's permission, which, according to, I guess, U.S. statutes, is a felony. You can't do that. So, and of course, his wife left him. They were in an open relationship. She left his ass. Because the open relationship thing never works. It never works. And I can't even imagine it. Like, can you imagine being in an open relationship and like your wife goes out on a date with another man and comes home and you give her a kiss? I mean, you might as well went out on the date with her and blew the other guy. Sorry to be crude, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's like, geez, I hope she brushed her teeth on the way home. But these dudes try to push that shit. And that's probably true, Muktuk. You're probably not wrong. But so the next one we'll see what happens to will be Hassan Piker, who honestly, when he said that the United States deserved 9/11, if I'd been the president, I'd had his ass deported back to Turkey. But, you know, that was a different time. These bread tubers. Or we can listen to Vosh, another bread tuber, trying to defend lowering the age of consent to 14 or some shit. I mean, they're just all bad people. That's really what it comes down to. It's just this group of people, and they're all bad. And yet they got millions of followers on Twitter, which is why I say Twitter. Anytime someone from, or not Twitter, Twitch, anytime someone from Twitch enters the chat, I'm always side-eyeing them and getting ready to hit the ban button, because Twitch is just a den of scum and villainy. I don't know what, you know, it used to be about watching people play Call of Duty, but lately, over the last, 10 years, it has just become, you know, hey, let's talk about how communism has never been tried in the world ever, even though, of course, it has. And watch women play video games in bikinis in hot tubs or something. You know, it's like, yeah. He is also talking all that smack about how happy he was that Queen Elizabeth died. Is like, dude, I mean, I am a proud American, and I'm proud of my ancestors that helped whip those redcoats' asses and run them off. But saying you're happy that someone died on the day that they died, that is just poor form. Poor form, my good man. Poor form. Bots to boost streams and Twitter posts? Probably not. Every now and then I'll get a thing in my chat saying that if I go to somewhere, you know, the most followers ever or something, and it's usually in Russian. So I guess there's a lot of bot farms in Russia, which, I mean, you know, I don't know why, because you'd think they'd have better stuff to do with their lives. Like, I know if I was in Moscow right now, I'd be in the square. I'd be looking at St. Basil's Cathedral. Might be planning a trip to St. Petersburg to see the Winter Garden. Which animal said that? I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about, honestly. Maybe, but I don't know. It's like, because I have a hard time believing any like true follower of orthodoxy would be online trying to like sell bots, because I mean, come on, you know. Or maybe they would, and that's just the sin they have to deal with, you know. But I know when I looked at my analytics last time, I have a lot of viewers in Russia who apparently never speak or subscribe or anything, and a lot of viewers in Vietnam. which sometimes I wonder if that's because I have a half sister in Vietnam. But, you know, maybe she told all of her friends and family to watch my shows. I don't know. I tried to contact her one time, but it was super hard talking because trying to use like Google Translate to talk to somebody, and it's not like Vietnamese is an easy language either. At least I didn't, so it was like, plus I wonder how it makes her feel knowing she's got a number of American brothers. I wonder if that's like a thing she likes or if she doesn't like it. It's hard to say, I mean, there was a whole war and everything. But throwing some black Vallejo ink on these Czech hedgehogs, like I said, darken them down. And then after that, I will be putting on some Vallejo dark rust. Yep, I'll be streaking them up with some rust. And then they will be scatter terrain on the game table. I mean, they would be useful for like 30K, 40K, any kind of modern game. Hell, even role-playing games. These things would be useful for like Twilight 2000. If you're using miniatures and all, so that you can do the combat more tactically, which the game suggests. That's why it comes with a bunch of counters and a map. It suggests that you use miniatures. I mean, you don't have to, but it kind of seems to be strongly encouraged, the whole. So, yeah, man. And I've got a bunch of 28 millimeter Soviet and American vehicles. I got 15 mil too for like Team Yankee. But up there, I've got a bunch of 28 mil. So if I ever ran Twilight 2000 for my game group, I think we'd play at 28 mil. And we just use rulers and stuff to measure ranges and stuff. I've got some of those mouse pad material, like 4x4. I've got a bunch of them. I've got like an ice one and 2 grass ones and a mud one and a town one where it just has like streets. You can put buildings or rubble or whatever on it. Thanks to my wife, she bought them for me. She even bought me one that's specifically made for Gaslands, which is a game that I do especially like, and definitely would recommend to anybody looking to get into a war game, because you buy the book for like $19 or whatever it is, $20, whatever, and then you go down to your local store and you buy yourselves a bunch of Hot Wheels. And then with a little bit of imagineering, you glue some guns or spikes or something on your Hot Wheels. And then you and your buddies sit down and basically play Mad Max, battles. Like where people can take buggies and they're really, really cheap. So you can take a shit ton of buggies and bikes, but they're also really easy to get taken out. So, they even have rules for like, if you want a game with a tractor trailer, so you could literally set up the tractor trailer and a couple of escorts versus like a shit ton of buggies and bikes and whatever, which could be really fun, I think. Let's see. we're getting close to 2 hours. I think everybody's wore out. And I got to pee really bad. So, but I have drank half a gallon of water while I've been doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and end it. But peace and love to all of you. And good luck. Good thoughts, good actions, to quote the Zoroastrists. And I will see you in the next one. I will show you something I modded up. I had to 3D print some of the parts, but I made a trench pilgrim with a flamethrower because my trench pilgrim procession is going to be devoted to Saint Olga, who is, as I've said multiple times, the saint whose husband got killed. So she like burnt Kiev to the ground or whatever. So the people who follow her, they tend to like a lot of flamethrowers. No, I got to use the bathroom. Okay. But